Morning. This morning is Sunday, April 7th. I always have to check the date on my phone. I'm lost in time and space. Let me get the chat going. Let's see who's here. Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for coming. Hi, Ruthie. Ruthie. Okay, so Colin will be joining shortly in about 15 minutes. Sorry, that's my daughter. Let me just answer her. Okay. So today I want to talk about setting intentions for tomorrow. Tomorrow is a huge day, a huge energetic day. A huge portal is opening, an opportunity, an Ace Rutzon, as we call it. And tomorrow evening starts Nisan, the month of Nisan, which is the holy month of redemption. We were taken out of Egypt in that month, and we will be taken out again. I read yesterday in Reb Effie's book, Reb Ephraim Pelvanoff, he said that in the Zohar, that describes 4 levels of men: Adam, Ish, Gever, Enosh. And Adam is the highest. It's the Adam Kadmon, the highest level above the world of Atzilus, the highest dimension of creation. And he says that when God took us out of Egypt, it says Hashem Ish Milchama. It describes Hashem as an Ish, because that's the 3rd highest level of manhood. But then in this redemption in Ezekiel, it describes the vision that he sees, that Hashem is an Adam. We will reach an even higher redemption, the highest level possible, with Hashem showing his strength, all out strength. I don't know if tomorrow will be that day, but it is definitely an opportunity for a quantum leap where we can converge our intentions together. Our beautiful hearts will join. Humanity will join together. Everyone is talking about this eclipse on the whole spectrum of consciousness. From the normie to the most awakened, everyone is enamored, captivated by what's about to happen tomorrow. I think that alone is indicative that humanity is at a new level where we're looking to the skies, where we're looking to God, where we're understanding that the forces that control the planet are about to learn what daylight is, what sunlight is, what God is, the strength of God. Hi, Tammy. Good morning. I also think it is really, really important tomorrow, today even, to sit down. This is what I'm going to do. I'm sit down with a pen and paper. Thanks, Ruthie. To sit down with a pen and paper, because whenever you write something, it carries tremendous weight. God wrote down the 10 commandments in stone. So when we write, it carries, I think, even more weight than the spoken word. So write down intentions for yourself. It's about a 2-hour window in the afternoon tomorrow where the eclipse energies will be the strongest. Doesn't mean it has to be exactly the 4 minutes where it passes over nearest to you. I think there's a whole 2-hour window where the planet is going to be bombarded with tremendous frequencies, lunar frequencies, feminine energy. And this is what brings me to my most important thing that I want to say. I got a download. I received a download right before coming on, and I scrambled to text Ruthie to help me remember exactly what Sasha Stone had said about Lilith, because he touched upon Lilith in his last panel of experts that he gathered, this symposium, the Lazarus Initiative. And you guys know that I have been personally bombarded with Lilith in my consciousness for about a month now, since I went to Israel and I met with a Kabbalist who said you need to light 22 candles to calm down the energy of Lilith. And I did that for 22 days straight. Special energetic candles that she gave me, that each candle had a different energy. And on the last day that I lit, the following day was Shabbos, and I read in Parshas Vayikra all about Lilith. So at the culmination of me lighting the candles, that week's Parsha and the timing of that is only God. So I understand that part of my personal calling is to help calm down this energy, this Lilith energy on the planet. And this will be on my list of intentions when I write down my personal manifestations that I would like to call in. I'm going to write down the collective manifestations, the healings, the raising of consciousness, all these things that I want to call in for the collective that the world needs. But it's also a time for a personal request to God. So it can be a mixture of both. Your list can contain both. You can keep two separate columns I'm going to have for my own personal requests and requests on behalf of the collective. And on that second list will be that the energy, the Lilith energy, has the opportunity in this 2-hour window to be transmuted, What was the download I got this morning? What was this download? So one of the questions I had asked in one of my lives was, the first one was from my friend Joel Fingerer, who asked me when I proposed my theory that Yona Matzah, Voma Noach, when this eclipse passes through 7 towns of Nineveh, Jonah will be found, right? And this is a song by Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, a Shabbos song that he wrote. This one line, he was a poet, a philosopher, and a physician, and probably a prophet. And he wrote down this line, Yona Matzah Vo Manoach, is an opportunity for Manoach. And it says about Lilith in the Hebrew, she will find the same word, Manoach, which is a very rare word in the Bible. So I connected the two, that when this eclipse comes and we are alluded to the story of Jonah, where eyes are directed to Nineveh, Vo Manoach, will come this opportunity for Lilith to find rest. So I had 2 questions come to me. Number one, what initially pissed off Lilith? Why was she so bitter? Why was she so hardened? Why was she so dominating to Adam, to the point where she had to be banished? She had to be like, he left her. He dropped Lilith for Eve, for Chava. So I have an answer to that. And then on the tails of that answer, I have another answer, because it says, I look to the words for hints. It says, Ach Sham Hirgia Lilith, Matzaloma Noach. Only there will she rest, will Lilith rest, and Matzah la Manoach, and will find that word Matzah, will find herself Manoach. So I understood what pissed off Lilith, this is the answer, was that the moon had to diminish her size. When there were 2 competing luminaries, when they were created on the 2nd day of creation, Lilith wasn't created until the 6th day, man wasn't created until day 6. So it preceded, the creation of the moon preceded the creation of Lilith. So she came into the world pissed off that the moon had to diminish herself because she complained to God. She complained. So God said to shrink herself. And in the time of Mashiach, we know it is prophesied that the moon will be restored to her full glory. The feminine will come back to her full glory. So in this eclipse, when the moon and the sun are the same size, Lilith can rest, and she can see that God made good on his promise. They will be the same size, and they will stay the same size. I don't know if that's going to happen tomorrow, but it is a foreshadowing, a foretelling, a way that she can trust in God, that this will be rectified. This disservice, quote unquote, to femininity, that she had to diminish herself and be a reflective luminary instead of having light of her own, that will revert back to the original blueprint of creation, where God had them both the same size. So that was one answer. That I understood what pissed her off. This is for you, Yoel Finger, if you're out there. This is for you. She was pissed off because the moon had to diminish herself. So she became bitter and hardened about that. And what is the rectification? Oh, and then another thing, ach sham. It came to me, where is this sham? In the Zohar, it gives two other biblical references giving proof of sham. It says katan v'gadol shamhu. The small and the big shamhu are there. So I think that's a reference to the eclipse, because the big one and the small one will be found there. That is in Job 3. And in Isaiah 33, it says, Ki im sham adir adonai lanu, because there God will be precious to us. God will be mighty. I think it's mighty. So that can also be referring to the eclipse. I think Sham, we had said it could refer to Jerusalem, but I think it is a more cosmic, metaphysical place. I think the Sham refers to the cosmos, when the two luminaries will be restored to the same size. Hi, Chase Freedom. Hi, Mukas. Thank you so much for joining, you guys. Hey, Irma. I just wanted to get this thought in before Colin jumps on, and I hope it made sense. I'm probably going to recap it again tomorrow when I go live in the morning. I'm going to go live at 7 a.m., guys, because I have to work tomorrow, and I want to have a full hour to get ourselves ready. And I have a special surprise that I can't wait to tell you about tomorrow. It's going to be next level. Shakespeare, the sun and the moon have always been the same size. Right. But the moon did have to diminish herself and only reflect the sun. And I think the moon will have her own light in the world to come, which is upon us. So when I say I'm going to set an intention for Lilith tomorrow, I think every woman out there, and really every man also, can do this little bit of research. Look online. What are the traits of the feminine, the divine feminine, and what are the traits of the divine masculine? And feel into those and incorporate those. I saw on my Instagram feed this morning, Melissa Gambarini, I think her name is. She's the wife of Jake Woodard, and she is a teacher of the divine feminine, how to soften into your feminine. And she says 4 S words that help you remember how to be feminine. She says to soften, to surrender, to slow down, to simplify. See, I'm slowing down right now. I'm trying to be more feminine. But I added to that, to be feminine is to be sensual, is to have self-care. It's just to move slowly in this world, savor every moment. And in correcting these things within ourselves, I'm always in a rush. I'm always trying to control the situation, to let all of that go and just be in the flow. And trust and trust and trust. Trust your man and trust Hashem to deliver exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, with minimal effort on your part, to be the receiver. And then the divine masculine will be restored back to his place, the planner, the organizer, provider, protector. He'll come back. Once we stop doing that, he will have no choice but to come back into those energies. And we can resume our innate, joyful, playful, sensual, feminine selves, which men love. That feeds men. Men love that energy. It gives them life. So we're actually doing men a favor. It feeds their soul. I see when I'm playful with my husband, he becomes his best masculine self. The less I'm controlling, the less I am hard, the less I am demanding, the more I am just in the moment. He is his most masculine self. So this is, there's Colin.
Check, mic check.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Been a little while. I've been all right. Everything's good. It's been
Good.
my focus lately was like on the music and get my demo out and everything. And it's good to like circle back because we have this thing coming up this week, you know. So it's been a while though since I've done anything like on like YouTube or on a video. So
I'm so happy. I'm really honored to have you, Colin. I think you're so wise. Are you able to go live on your channel? Does it give you that option?
I have never set this up before, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, restream. Um, I see there's something on the top right that says add. I mean, I could try. Let's see.
Yeah.
No, I have to set up an account. I'm
Okay.
gonna just leave it alone. This is recorded, right? So I could upload a copy, maybe.
I'll send it to you afterwards.
Okay, that's cool. Nice.
What are your
So,
thoughts? What do you think is coming tomorrow?
well, it's hard to say that nothing, you know, in particular is going to happen because they've made so many preparations around this event, you know, like with all the school closings and, you know, there's airlines that aren't going to be in the air and the National Guard is being called up or what, you know, we know they were federalized, but, you know, they're saying they're going to be using the National Guard and you don't do those things for a 4 minute event, you know, in the sky. So I don't know if it's part of like the remaining deep state trying to scare people, but I mean, to me, the eclipse signifies, you know, a speeding up of the evolution process. So between, you know, like tomorrow and 2030, the process for us to evolve into like the fourth density of physicality is going to speed up quite a bit. And they call it like the solar return. And, you know, some people call this, you know, this is the beginning, but really this cycle began in 2017 with that first eclipse. I had shared with you the other day the picture of the first, or like the trajectory and how it made like the Alf and the Z, you know, the letters. So completing the cycle in a way. It's a cycle within a cycle, right? Everything's like a cycle within a cycle. Um, but I find that interesting. Um, you know, like with the first one, the 2017 one, as you guys all already probably know, went through 7 Salems, and this one's going through 7 Ninevehs, and that's all biblical. So, um, yeah, it's a big deal for the U.S. You know, its focal point is Mexico and the United States. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But you know, if I had to make a prediction on if something in particular will happen tomorrow, I would say no, but I would expect something to happen within the next 40 days. So that brings us into like the middle to end of May. And I would expect big things to happen this month and next month. It's hard to say what, you know. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's exciting. So, what do you think?
Oh, I think you're 100% right, especially because we're going into Passover. You know, tomorrow evening is the new Jewish month of Nisan, which is the month of Exodus. So I think,
Interesting.
right, it's time is cyclical, and I think that it's a zone of redemption. We're entering a new zone of redemption, and I happen to think why we became friends, Colin. Remember how we became friends?
Yeah, I remember.
When they were coming after
Yeah.
the Jews, and you texted me, the Jews are like the closest thing
Hmm.
to what's true. This religion is the closest thing to what's true.
Look at what's going on with the calendar. Like tomorrow is the beginning of a new Jewish month, and it just so happens to be on this eclipse day
Right.
for Passover. I said this a year and a half ago to you that these events were going to follow the Jewish calendar. and that's what's happened. So,
And
um,
I think it's so under the radar that it's hard to say this. I'm going to try to find the words, but like everything in the Q movement and the Patriot movement is so Christian, like hyper Christianized and Jesusified, that
yep,
the Jews are kind of under the radar. And I think we're going to come out from underneath and really lead the way towards redemption, because we've been downplayed. I think it's going to be God's trump card.
yeah,
And he pulls out the Jewish people who are keeping the Torah, I think, are the nuclear codes. I think it's the nuclear football, that we are the ones still holding the observance of what we received at Sinai, right? And we're still keeping the Sabbath and kosher and Shemitah, letting the land lay fallow in Israel. We're doing all this physical observance, and that really brings down a lot of divine light in the planet. And that's why the enemy at every turn tries to clump us all into one category as Satanists, right?
yeah,
And forgetting that there's a whole segment of Jewish people still abiding the physical practice of Torah. So I think that,
yeah.
yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was gonna say, like, there's a reason why the Khazars chose Judaism. You
Exactly.
know, they if they could try to confuse people, and push them away from, what the closest line to God would be, then yeah, they're gonna do that. And I've always said this. I'm not Jewish, and I was raised a Catholic, but um, you know, the Jewish people and like the life. I don't even really want to call it a religion because it's more than that, um, would be like what I would find closest. I also kind of I would put Buddhism in there too because of its spiritual, how it's centered upon spiritual growth and who the Buddha was and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I mean, in terms of like for the West and um, it just made sense. And yeah, there's a lot of Christians in the community, and um, it's amazing how fast some of them rush to just lump everyone together, and that's a big mistake, and that's why it was important that back what was that in September of 2022 when who had made some comments. Um, that's why I found it was necessary to say something. I'm
Yeah.
pretty guided with you know my life and where I go, what the information I get, and I thought it was important. So yeah,
Yeah, no,
it
you were
is.
the only one that came forward understanding that that Jews shouldn't be sidelined during this time. You know what I mean?
Right.
We
Yeah.
really shouldn't be. And
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a massive surprise, because I do believe that the Christian narrative has a lot of people still under that mind control.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, but it's going to crumble pretty quickly. Um, when we get to that point, I do expect like some of the disclosure that's going to take place. It's going to be the alliance and also members of the Galactic Alliance that are going to be here to explain to us what the hell the cabal did with religion. And um, as far as what ETs are saying, and what I've been able to corroborate about the New Testament, is that it was plagiarized over and over and over. Most recently from the Cal. So what happened was the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans were, in many cases, they were gypsies, and they wanted to have a history, and they essentially wrote themselves in. That's what the New Testament is, and a lot of those stories are either made up or they're completely plagiarized from more ancient texts. The whole story of Christ can be found further back through Krishna in the Hindu religion, and even further back Mithra. Um, and I can't remember if that's Mithra, where what that one came from. But I know that the story's the same. And while so like people are very focused on this individual Yeshua, not Jesus, it was Yeshua. And yes, he was a sage, but there was a lot of sages. You know, he wasn't the only one. Um, he did what he had to do to help guide the human race, but um, the Catholic or the Christian Church, um, they created a massive money pit around it all,
Yes,
and it's
yes,
just
yes, yes.
like one of the things that I've in some information I've gotten from some that are also in contact with ET is that the Old Testament is a truer account of history. This is actually true. Um, and you can't say that about other religious texts, and that really resonates with me. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You can't, it's unfortunate that um, Jewish people have to continuously defend themselves over and over and over, as if what you all went through just in the last century wasn't enough. It's crazy. But I think we're going to get to a point here soon where people are going to see the truth, and they're going to have to unlearn the lies. And yeah, I mean, it's to say that there's any particular religious path that wasn't in some way um, rewritten or changed in ways would be naive.
Right.
But there are some religions that are just completely made up, and Christianity has its roots in Satanism and paganism, by the way. So, and that's something that like Christians don't want to admit. When you eat the body and drink the blood of Christ, like how much more in your face do you have to get?
So I have
And
a question
also,
for you. Why do you think Trump still like gives out his Easter messages, and why do you think
oh,
he's
it's too early. If Trump came out and started to go against that grain, he would lose so many
You're
people.
right, you're right. You're
The
100%.
people aren't there yet. And also, one of the things I learned, and this really resonates, is that the Christian cross is actually a symbol of the victory of evil over love by
Oh no.
by putting a cross on your heart.
Oh, that's
It's it
awful.
that's it total when I heard that, it totally resonated with me,
Yeah, yeah, me
you
too.
know? Um, so there's just a lot wrong with it all. And I haven't even really begun to touch the Islam. That might even be more Satanism. But I mean, I know for sure it is. I just don't know which one is more tied in, if it's the Christians or the Muslims. But um, the bottom line here, even beyond all the BS, is that it seems like the majority of the people that are involved in these religions are good people, um, led astray by you know false light and um, wolf in sheep's clothing shepherds, right? And I think you know what this, and going back to this eclipse, what we're going to see from here out until 2030 is that the truth is going to shine through a lot clearer now. Um, this past number of years since 2017 eclipse sort of marked like a shotgun start to, you know, um, the new world, even though it was so brand new at that time. Nobody really saw it for what it was, but really everything changed back in 2016. Actually, it was 2015. But, the whole Trump presidency has been a military plug the whole time.
Yes.
This has been and actually some people now say, and I've looked at some of the images, that Biden was replaced in 2009.
Wow.
And if you look back at some of these images, you'll notice there was a very abrupt change in the appearance of this guy from 2008 into 2009, which is strange that would be the case because that was the beginning of the Obama administration.
Right.
So I think this movie goes back to that. I think that the Obama administration was put in place to begin the awakening. I think the white hats have really had a grip on this for longer than we think. The cabal has always been there, lurking in the dark, doing their cowardice activity and their treachery. But I think we've had control for a lot longer than a lot of people realize.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but if for people that are still on the there's no good guys train, come on. Like I don't know how much more. Oh, first of all, do you think Elon Musk would have taken over X and made it a free speech platform if there were no good guys? Come on. So I just say that to some folks that we know in a certain in a certain chat room that have it right about some things, but the whole there's no white hats thing is nonsense. So it's gotten to a point now where when I hear something like that, I just think to myself, how far behind are you?
You know
Like,
what? It's psychologically, it's people who are afraid of hope. They're terrified to have
yeah,
hope because they've been disappointed so many times in their life. And that's my
it,
analysis of that.
yeah. I mean, to not believe in or having hope or something good happening is a program that has been installed into us by the cabal.
Yes.
And you know the human race has such a wide range of emotion that if you know the proper way to manipulate that emotion, you can get us, which is what they did, to become and create anything that they want us to. And that's what happened. um, we were programmed to see this 3 foot world. um, you know Focus on what's in front of you, be a worker, not a thinker. uh, and I'm convinced the media is still allowed to be on the air because I think we're waking way more people up because they're seeing the media and the lies, and then they're seeing the contrast in reality, which again, coming back to this eclipse, is going to bring the truth in so much brighter that they're going to have no choice but to tell the truth. I also think the media is on a 7-part conversion plan where they're slowly reversing course and unprogramming people and getting back to the truth.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think that's what, yeah,
amazed at the restraint of the white hats.
yes.
Yeah.
They're very patient. But for the
Patient,
longest time, they were playing catch up from behind.
thousands of
And
years of catch up.
the only way to be effective in a situation like that is to be creative and have patience. And
You
that's
know
what
what I
they've done.
heard? You reminded me. I just heard a class given by this Rabbi Mendel Kessin. He said that when the snake caused Eve to sin, part of his punishment was that he could not draw down creative power. He had to get his creative powers through man.
Right, which is
So
service
he's
to self.
siphoning.
Yeah.
Yes, service to
Yeah.
self.
It's
Service.
the oldest story of service to self and others
Yes.
that there is. So yeah, it's a great allegory. And that's really, I mean, it really is an allegory. I mean, like, so, and what an Eden is a biologically malleable dome setting to where an extraterrestrial race can set this up and be able to survive as if they were living on their own planet. That is, from what I understand, an Eden is. Um, I don't know that for a fact. I've heard that, and it does resonate. A lot of this it does go back to ET. Actually, most of it does. Um, but we can't forget that there is a difference between ET and the lowercase g in God and God, the uppercase G, which is source, right? Our
Right.
creator. So, yeah, it's, I think we're moving into some extremely, much faster times. I don't know if you've noticed this, but in the last couple months, time has sped up even more. Things are just going by so much faster. I actually gauged it in a strange way. Um, I'm a baseball fan. Sometimes I watch baseball, and I notice these games are just going by so much faster. Same with basketball. And I'm like, I remember back in the day, you'd sit in front of the screen for 4 hours watching one of these games, and they're just going by so much faster.
That's so
It's
interesting.
just everything is speeding up, speeding up. There's another element to this eclipse, which I don't know if you know this guy. His name is David Sarita. He's a pretty gifted mathematician slash engineer who's got a good grip on the esoteric elements in this world.
Was he on Sasha Stone? Was he on that
Yes,
panel? Yes,
you
I
saw
do.
that?
Yeah, he was in like a blue suit. He was like in that room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. David's awesome. So, what he believes is that there's a third body that's going to eclipse the moon and the sun at the same time, and he believes that this body is called what he calls Planet 139, and it comes in every so often, whether it's natural or it's uh, made artificially. I don't know, but because he said that, it made me think our moon is an artificial satellite and it can move under its own power. So what if they created a 3 days of darkness scenario where they actually moved the moon with the sun for 3 days and it was just pitch black? You know, they could do the alliance could do something like that. They could.
The only
Um,
reason I don't like that theory is because I want this to be the hand of God. I don't want
I
this to
know,
be
I
anything
know.
but that.
Well, that's the problem with the moon. It's like, it's artificial. So anything really dealing with the moon,
But how is it artificial if it was created by God?
well, okay, yeah, ultimately it was. You're right. The matter involved with, yeah. Uh, um After its creation, it was hollowed out and created into a spacecraft, is what I'm saying.
Okay, I
So,
never knew that.
yes, you're right. It was originally anything in existence was created by God. So, yeah, you could go back as far to say that. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things that could happen. Um but I think at the end of the day, it's just important to understand that time is speeding up so much faster, and this evolution is going to move at an exponential pace. So
So what are you going to be? I want to know practically, Colin O'Brien, what intentions are you setting? What are you going to be doing during that window of totality?
yeah,
What are you going to be thinking about? What are you going to be calling into your personal life and for the collective?
well, I'm actually gonna connect to Sasha Stone's energy and connect with the because he's going to be over there next to a portal to interact with the Gaia spirit. And I want to connect to that energy. So I plan on doing something like that. He, from what Sasha says, and I do. I think Sasha is a very gifted one, and he does know a lot. And I feel like he's spending time with these tribal elders and shaman and individuals down there in the path of complete totality, and Palenque, I believe. He's going to be they're going to be accessing a portal directly to the spirit of the earth, Gaia, the Terra spirit. So I want to connect with that. And the other thing I wanted to do is sort of relay that energy through the sun, because the sun, is a great way to send communication out and to strengthen connection and whatnot. So um, yeah, I mean that's probably about it.
Did you
And
hear
I'm just
about?
gonna set. What's that?
Okay, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say my intentions are gonna be set on seeing a more overt presence from the white hats this year, which I think we're gonna see anyway. But I think everyone in our community is gonna be focusing on that. So uh, our power of manifestation, it could happen tomorrow. It could, or over the next 40 days is what I believe. So,
I love that window. Yeah, you reminded me to add that to my list that I think everything hinges on truth. I think we ride on the truth. We ride on the money and we ride on the truth.
mm,
And everything that we're praying for will come into manifestation once the truth is revealed. Everything else will follow
yeah,
easily. It's just that speed bump, that impasse where the truth is still hidden. And
Yeah.
I think that's really important. Did you hear that other guy on the panel, Dr. Alex Ling?
Yeah.
He's the German guy who
Yeah.
comes from, he has like a Japanese name. I think his father or mother is Japanese, but he's German. And he was saying the power of humming, like to the primordial sound of humming.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they're going to be doing some humming also. So I might do some humming during that window. I think that connects you back to the root chakra, back to the earth, and we can
Good
take
point. Yep.
those cosmic energies and really ground them into Gaia by humming. When you hum, you feel it in your coccyx. You feel it in your tailbone.
Yeah, you sure do. Yeah. Yeah.
And he
That's
said
a big
humming is
deal. Yeah.
different than oming. Oming is one thing, but humming is instinctual,
Okay.
primordial. So what were you going to say, Colin?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember what I was going to say. So instead of doing like, what do you just like that?
Oh, you're a musician. He said it's C4.
Yeah.
He said it's the note
Oh,
of
okay.
C4.
So it's, so if he's saying it's C4, then that's quite a few octaves above middle C. So that would be a higher pitch, actually. I don't know if I could even get to that pitch. That's a long way up. So,
Whatever you do is fine. He said that there was two groups, a control group, a group that received instructions on how to hum, and a group that didn't. And both groups ended up doing the same thing.
oh,
So
very
you
good.
do not need instruction. You can just hum.
Harmonic resonance. Yeah.
That's what they called it.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, when you've got, that's like the most natural way to produce harmonic resonance is through humming. Uh, it's when something of the same, you know, material makeup produces the same frequency. So basically what it's saying is that if let's say this finger is a string and it's vibrating, if this finger over here is of the same diameter, then it will begin, to vibrate at the same rate. So yeah, they say that there's that has a lot to do with the hundredth monkey effect and how that plays out, because when you've got enough people um, creating what you would call a quorum of agreement, um, it then becomes known amongst the whole collective. So, and that's how it's done at like a fundamental level. It's harmonic resonance. So,
I love that. I love that it's musical. I love that it's instinctual. And they were saying how I think if 50 people or more that were humming together, they were inducing a theta brainwave state. They were going
oh,
into a trance-like state. And what else did they say?
yeah, that's a pretty high frequency state. It's like
Oh,
a
and they were
state of
feeling
lucidity.
tremendous feelings of love. That's what it was. Like
Okay,
everybody, like if I was envisioning myself humming tomorrow, and like joining with other people. I think Sasha Stone's group is going to be humming also.
that's good to
And
know.
yeah, and they're going to be humming. And I think I want to go outside with my bare feet to the earth and hum
Mhm.
and join with them. I think that the more of us that have an opportunity to do that, because every mother hums
Oh,
to
you're in the path of totality, aren't you?
not, I'm a little off. Like it's going to Rochester,
Oh,
I
okay.
think, but I think we get like a few minutes of like
I'm close.
90%. Where are
I'm
you?
close. Well, so in Chicago, we have 95% coverage. I'm actually probably just as far away from the totality as you are, but on the north side.
Right.
You would
I'm
be
on the
south
south.
of it.
Yeah.
I'm north of it. Um, my brother, who's down in Indiana at school, it's actually going right through where he's at, the totality.
Very cool.
Yeah. There's some people that say that this eclipse is going to trigger the New Madrid fault lines and cause a massive earthquake.
Oh boy.
It may not happen this tomorrow, but what they're saying is that the last time a major eclipse like this came through the Midwest, it triggered that fault line back in the 1800s, and it created what was it, like a 9.4 or something? It was an
In
insanely
Spain? You're talking about Spain? Is that
no, here in the U.S.
oh, that,
No, the
New
New
Madrid.
Madrid line is actually in southern Illinois,
Oh,
down through like Kentucky and parts of Tennessee. Um, but yeah, apparently the last time we had an eclipse go right over it, which is what's going to happen this time. It caused a massive earthquake, a devastating. So we'll see.
I think that we're going to avert anything bad. I think the power of our
Yeah,
intentionality will preserve life, and it will manifest only positive things. I really believe that. I think there's enough of us awakened on the planet,
yeah.
enough people doing this work of really setting their intentions. You reminded me when you said that there might be a third body, that there's like a prophecy in the Torah saying Derach Kochav Miyakov, that from Jacob there will be a new star. And that's a big symbol, a big heralding of Messiah. That's like big.
Yeah.
And then it reminded me also, Colin, of this earthquake that might happen in New Madrid. They're saying, there was something I read in a book recently that in the Zohar, in Kabbalah, in the ancient mystical text, that there's a place called the Bird's Nest, which I read in a book by Rabbi Ariel Bar Tzadok. He said that the Bird's Nest is really inner earth, which he says is 100 miles under the surface of the earth, in Hebron, in Israel. And
Oh,
from that location is where there's going to be an earthquake in Jerusalem, 45 miles wide. And from there, the Messiah figure with Enoch, with Elijah the prophet, are going to come forward and bring this is where I think Judaism is going to surprise everybody, because we have ancient texts describing the process of how
oh yeah,
these armies of God are going
yeah,
to come from inner earth. The armies of God will come forth with these central figures of the shift,
yeah.
cosmic.
They're down there. Yeah.
They're down there.
Oh yeah.
So what do you, I wanted to hear, you were the first person, remember on my chat, you
I
said,
do. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
going to be like exploring inner earth, and a year from now that's where you want to be. And I was like, what is inner earth? And then I heard all about this.
4 years from now, I think that's what it
Right,
was.
right.
Yeah.
At the next leap year, we have a good
That was the first thing that came to my mind, was that I'd be down there. So,
tell me what made you say that. Tell me a little more.
oh, well, I've always felt a connection down there. My soul may not be part of the earth matrix, but I've spent some time down there before. Um, there's a number of civilizations down there, and most of them are not like Earth human looking. Some of them are, but I think there's a lot. There's a lot down there. I wanted to circle back to something you said about Hebron. I was thinking, because there's a Hebron, Ohio, that's actually in the path of totality.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so if something happens in Ohio tomorrow, I would imagine it would be there.
Oh,
And
wow.
if they do say something about it, let's connect that back with what you were just talking about. Let's think for maybe a second here. Um, you know, if you think about, like, yeah, you've got the original Jerusalem, Israel, and then you've got the USA, right? I don't know if you saw, they connect like Jer USA Lem. The USA is like in Jerusalem. Um, let's see how that connects with what's happening tomorrow.
I think
It,
that USA might be incorporated somehow into the boundaries of Israel. Like, I think
yeah,
that there's going to be tectonic shifting and all kinds of reconfiguration of the map and boundaries. And what are your thoughts?
yeah. I mean, it's certainly possible. Um, I mean, there's such a strong connection there already. Um, like our politicians here are sworn to Israel, and they've got a double citizenship.
Uh-huh.
All of them do. Um, there's no reason why we can't keep that sort of relationship. We just need to get rid of these freaking cabal members. That, I mean,
It's enough.
yeah,
Their time is up. It's game over for them. Right, Ruthie?
I do you have a feeling that what's going on, in Gaza is not what we're being told it is?
I think that it's a clean out of the stronghold. I do.
That's what I'm thinking too. I don't think I think Netanyahu is being made to look like a bad guy, which, because we know who he is. But I think that this is on purpose. The military's in there cleaning it out, and all along it looks like, Netanyahu is a war criminal. So I don't know. Could be something.
Hold on. Schiffer Hendry said they don't all have dual citizenship. She didn't like that. Explain what you mean. I think all the bad players have dual citizenship because the government of Israel is corrupt. So I think they launder money somehow through that. Is that what you mean when you said the dual citizenship?
Me? Talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, the I forget how many members of Congress, but like, I know that a lot of them are dual citizens with Israel. And from what I understand, they are sworn to defend Israel too.
Right.
So that's about the extent of what I know about it. I'm not sure from there, what direction it goes, or who's really good, who's really bad. It's so hard to tell right now about like which. I mean, maybe there are certain individuals we know for sure may not be so good, but at the end of this movie, we're going to find out that I think a lot of people that played a black hat role were actually white hats. So
I agree.
we'll just have to see. I think, did you see the Kennedy or the Kennedy? Yeah, one of John Jr.'s nephews was like did a video the other day saying that get ready, big things are coming. Um, I seem to be picking up on a lot of stuff like that. And then you know who E is, right? On Telegram and X E. You follow him?
Yeah.
So like his post today said prepare for the storm,
I don't know, but
So
he's always saying stuff like that. He's like to me the boy who
mhm,
cried wolf. Like I don't know. I'm not sure. I
he
just hope he's
does.
to the
He
side.
does. It's hard to say what he is, but I will say that the times that stuff has happened, he has called it.
Okay.
Um, like certain things have happened that ahead of time that he said, something major would happen today, and Victoria Nuland got fired, like that's kind of thing. But I don't know. We'll see. But I think
And also that
whether,
nephew of John,
yeah,
he I looked on it, I stalked his Instagram a little bit, and he like had a 10-minute video saying how he's voting for Biden. So the way that I might have reconciled that is because they want to see the comments, like
yeah,
what's your name, Jan Halper Hayes. They say they take the thermometer of the awakening from social media. So if
yeah,
he puts out a video saying how he's voting for Biden, a
yeah.
candidate who's his uncle is running, but and then they see the comments of people being like, how what is the matter with you? I think they understand better that more people are.
They're totally doing that. That's the
You
that's
think
the
he's
best
part
way to gauge.
you think that nephew is really on board, right?
Yeah, I think the ones that weren't were forced to play ball.
Ah,
So like
yes.
that's why RFK is doing what he's doing. I don't think he was ever planning on running for president, but you know, he was a good tool to
Excellent tool for vaccine awakening. Hello.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you got these people that say, "Oh, like this guy's bad, this guy's good, General Flynn's bad." Like, there's so many psyops and so much crap out there about all kinds of people. You just have to like to go within and use your intuition and some of your sixth senses,
Yes.
and that's how you have to be able to to put all the crap aside.
Yes.
And you know what? Trump even told us that these psyops are being executed onto us, illegally, by the black hats, but the white hats use psyops too. You know, they're more pure, but they're still psyops. But I get it. They're finishing off a war, so um, yeah, I think it's winding down. I mean, we're about to go into another phase because the the election that I don't see how that's ever going to happen this year. It's going to happen in November. I just don't see that. Um, how could you have an election? You know, they have to deal with these people that publicly need to go down. You know, this cleanup has to happen overtly before you can think about having a new election. So I think we're going to see Trump acting sort of like a king for a while,
Mm,
you know, and the military is going to do what they need to do. But yeah, I just I don't see an election happening this year. I'm assuming you don't either, or what do you think?
I mean, okay, so might it take until November? Yes.
Mhm.
You know, we've already resigned to the fact that these things take time. I never thought Biden would get in. So here I am 4 years later, understanding
Right?
that things take time. But I think with the opportunity tomorrow to take a quantum leap, we can accelerate a lot of awakening and really not have to play out a lot of the white hat plan. I think we can skip a lot of of steps and get to the outcome quicker. Um,
Yeah.
I hope.
I think that's what I do believe that that's part of what this eclipse represents. It's the quickening, you know,
The quickening, yeah.
or, you know, some people believe that it's the switch that they talk about with the digital assets.
Oh,
Um,
really? Talk about that.
okay, so look, we know, so David Schwartz has made many comments in the past about there being a switch.
Mhm.
Up, go, I accidentally bumped into the switch, and then like XRP will have pumped like 10 cents, and he'll make that comment. He's also said a number of times that XRP has to be worth $1 million a coin in order for it to do what it needs to do. He's always been there to tell us when we're about to hit the top or the bottom of the market. So if you think about that, if he's willing to tell you in a certain way, be it a riddle, a hint, whatever, or just straight up come out and say it. If he's going to tell you those things, he's also telling you, listen to me. I am telling you what what there is, like what the truth is about this asset, you know, where it needs to go, how it's going to mature to its stable level. And it's not going to take a steady move up. It's already one of the most um, manipulated assets. It's price manipulated on purpose by the military
Right.
because they can't have an asset like that making all these people, you know, wealthy when the next phase hasn't started. They're still cleaning things up. So once that's done, they'll flip the switch on it, and those that knew about it and have these assets will benefit from them. This includes gold and silver. Um, you know, like did you see Zimbabwe just came out with their ZIG? Like these things are happening. These are real events. Um, you know, we're starting to hear more about it in our media now because I still believe they're on a conversion plan to the truth. But I mean, we're hearing a lot about gold, right? A lot about how the other economies of BRICS are preparing for a dollar collapse, and you know they've been stockpiling gold. And I think part of the scare event for the United States is that the dollar's going to collapse, and people are going to think that we don't have any gold anymore, but we
Right.
know that we do.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot that's going to happen this year because if you assume for a second that we're on the standard timeline of okay, well, a new administration would come in January of 25, and there's an election in November, they have to stay on a somewhat stable, you know, course of events for the normies that aren't awake yet. So that's why I believe that this spring and summer we're going to see the most radical changes with leadership, overt leadership, um, the trigger on the digital assets that we own. They'll do after that the revaluation of the paper currencies. that are going from fiat to asset backed. And I believe that in September is when our new currency will go live, the US Treasury note. And
September. Okay.
I am taking something that, of all people, right? Elon Musk's CEO of X, that lady, I forget her name. She said in just a random post in 2022 that in September of 24 we would start a brand new currency. It just came up out of nowhere. She said this,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, well, we know Elon's a white hat, and he's not going to hire a cabal member. So this was said by that individual for a reason, and there's something to it. I do believe there's just so much that has to happen between now and the fall, and I plan on being retired from my job this year.
Me
I
too.
just
I plan to move
um
to Israel. I plan to buy property in Israel once everything goes through. I think, first of all, my friend Avivit just commented September is the beginning of the Jewish calendar, the lunar
yeah,
calendar, Rosh Hashanah. So that's a big marker also. I think you're 1,000% right, Colin, that they have to have the digital infrastructure switched in place before they can RV the currency, because they're not going to send people home with
yeah,
big bags of gold. It has to be digital. When you're
right.
going to cash in the old currencies, it has to be already established, the mechanism of the exchange, and that's XRP.
Yeah, they've been building it out now for a while. I believe it's ready, but the reason why we're still waiting is because the people aren't ready and they're still in this cleanup phase. They're
Yeah,
never going to hit the green light on a new financial system until they know that they're ready to start that
right. And
phase.
that's why this Israel, my friend Esther, I have to give her the credit. She always says to me, that's why Israel is saved for last, because it was the epicenter. Forget Ukraine. Ukraine was like the second, but Israel was the actual hub of Kabbalah activities, the Mossad and all of
Yeah,
that. So when they're cleaning out the stronghold of Israel, and Israel is the center of holiness of the
yeah.
planet. So
Oh,
it
there's
makes
a reason
sense.
why the cabal poisoned that area of the world. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. Where there has to be a counterpart to the most holy, to the most unholy.
yeah,
So
exactly.
once that is taken out, we're going to move forward with the money. But
Yeah.
that's why all eyes are on Israel right now, because as as that gets resolved, I think I get so happy, Colin, when they have a ceasefire. I know it's like the opposite of what most Jews are. Jews want, the army to go in and wipe out the terrorists, but I'm like, do not send our boys into that hellhole, into those
Yeah.
death traps. Stop already. Let the White Hats do what they have to do. And
Yeah.
so a ceasefire to me is a godsend. And
Hmm.
it also tells me that the White Hats can really go in when there's a ceasefire. They can really go in and do what they have to do.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the some of the fringe activity is just there to hide the real nature of
Right.
what's going on.
Like
Um,
everything else, it's a cover. COVID was a cover. I think also the lockdowns were a cover.
yeah, like the bomb in Damascus, uh, those were cabal members they killed. I mean, come on.
Right, right,
They're not going to just randomly bomb. Then that's what they were like. They said that there were some Iranians there, like in Syria and Damascus, and um, it actually didn't hit the consulate. It hit a building across the street,
oh wow,
and that's where these individuals were holed up. But
right,
yeah, they took out some cabal members. Uh, that's the thing. When you know that this isn't it's not a war in the traditional sense. It's a good versus evil issue, and they want it to stay somewhat hidden for a reason. They want people to believe it's something it's not because they can operate under those
right.
pretenses.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know,
It gives them a cover. It gives them shield.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And then eventually, and soon they're going to come out and say, "Hey, this is what's been going on."
I can't
Uh,
wait for that, Colin. I can't wait.
it's 100% that that's going to happen
I
because
know.
we're talking about white hats here.
Right.
Uh, we've had our history hidden, our true history hidden from us for so long that the alliance knows that one of the first things they have to do is teach us our real history, like
Right.
who this cabal that's been for all these people that have been brainwashed by him. Who were they? Where did they get their start? And what was some of these other events that they wrote the history books, because they had this power for so long. What was the real history? And they have that, and they're going to give us that information, and they're going to help us unlearn uh, the lies. I mean, lucky for us, we're off to a great start. And yeah, it's still a journey, but think of some of these people that still say they're voting for Biden. Like, how, oh my God, that's such a long way to go. So
Oh yeah, that's
we got to remember that too. Like, there's people, they awaken at their own pace. And yeah, there's a part of the group that just won't ever be able to wake up, and that's because they were not supposed to wake up in this life. They're here to see it for what it is, so they can catch a glimpse of what they are going to be the main characters of the next time that something like this happens. So um yeah, wow, what a stretch of time this has been. I mean, it's just crazy thinking that we all thought there was no way Biden came in, but now we know why it had to happen, you know? And I mean, can you imagine, think of this, like if this was if Trump had not let Biden become president, he'd be leaving office this year. But because we had this pause, he gets to come in and be
yeah.
the king for a
I
while.
trust the plan. I really do. Now that I've seen more of the plan
Yeah,
in action, I
yeah,
understand it is. You have to understand it in a psychological way. There's no other way to understand this. They are reverse engineering mind control, which is
yeah.
really an art. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, it is. And the tricky part about it is it's an art, and it's enhanced via technology,
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
They relied on
And
us. They relied on the frogs. They relied on us.
oh yeah, yeah. People don't realize just how capable the human race is. I mean, we've been up against some adversity for a long time,
Long time.
and we still have a larger population. Like, we keep, propagating in the face of this treachery.
Yeah.
And it's wild, but that's partially because so many people are just not aware of what it really is. Um, but it had to come to light.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow, what times, huh? Look at that.
It is.
We're at an hour and 7 minutes. So um can we cap it here? Maybe we'll do a follow-up after the eclipse.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love to. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, thank you for joining me today, Colin. It was really great to see you. And thank
Hey,
you
I had a
for
good I
everybody
had a good
listening.
time.
About 40 people. Yeah.
What's that?
We got up to about 40 people, which is pretty good.
Oh, cool. That's yeah. Hey, you know what? Anybody that was here today for here to hear it was meant to hear it, and
Yeah.
I'm sure others. And if you wouldn't mind sending me a link or whatever, I can throw up on my page too. Unless it's something I can active or I can find on my own screen here. I don't know.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, that's fine. And yeah, let's yeah, we'll do a follow up. Let's see what happens with this event on Monday tomorrow.
Cool.
And put your cell phone in the microwave for the eclipse, just in case, right?
You
You don't
guys.
want that EMP to ruin all the tech, so it might, but I doubt that's what we're looking at. We have to, you're like you said, keeping that positive outlook. There's enough of us now that can channel that positivity to counteract the cabal members that are channeling the negativity. And while they might be trying to create disaster, it's just not going to happen.
Futile. It's
Yeah,
futile. They're scrambling. They
they're
know it.
finished. They're
Yeah. It's
finished, and
over.
they know it too. They At this point, all they can do is prolong the game, and that's what they've been doing now for years. Actually, they've known for a while now that they were finished, and they've been doing everything they can to try to stay alive a day longer here, a day longer there, and we're coming up against a hard stop pretty soon.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, times are going to speed up now. So be ready for it.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Colin. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.